Well, welcome to it. It's the 5th episode of The Good, The Bad, The Rugby South Africa. According to John 94 on YouTube, the greatest South African rugby podcast. So that's at least one thing for us. Welcome to it. It's the 5th episode. Just a quick reminder, please remember, welcome, subscribe, comment, like, get involved with the show. It's your show, it's my show, and it's the show of that man, Gcobani Bobo. Bobs, it's good to see you, my brother.
Yeah, I'm so excited. A week with the All Blacks again in South Africa. Last week's performance, All Blacks controlling, and now we get to see it again. Now it's down in Cape Town at the home ground for the All Blacks. But it should be fun. It should be fun, but I'm more excited about our guests too. Morné Steyn is here.
Morné Steyn.
You know, things change, but it always stays Morné Steyn.
The more they change, the Morné Steyn the same.
Yep.
Morné Steyn joins us via Zoom. Morné, thank you so much for joining us. A man that caused me a lot of heartbreak in my earlier years when I was a Stormers fan in Pretoria. But I mean, tough times happen. Morné, thanks for joining us, my man. Are you well?
No, I'm well, thank you very much. And yeah, it's great to join you guys.
And then also joining us
Lazarus.
Lazarus back from the dead. Schalk Brits, Schalla. Half expected to see you in a hospital gown at least, but with a beautiful mountain in the background. Good to have you back.
Guys, as I said, whatever your beliefs is, I said hi to the man upstairs. I was on a stretcher fighting for my life this week, but I'm alive and now having a chat with you guys. So thank you for postponing till today. The weirdest part about it all was actually we would have had Gary Teichmann and Andre Joubert, the Rolls Royce of rugby in it, and unfortunately I got sick.
Yeah, no, I was excited because I was fanning out like anything. The first time I met Gary Teichmann, I was a junior, brought into the Springbok squad just as a learning sort of youngster internship. And Gary Teichmann took over from Frans Pienaar then. And I mean, can you imagine how big this man is in my eyes? Andre Joubert, what he did in 1995, I was just fanning out. He beat my butt in golf. That man is a serious three handicapper, and he was slinging that left hand like anything. So good times spending with the elders, right?
Talk to me about, quickly before we get into our show for the week, talk to me about the Conservation Cup. How good is it? How important is it? And to support foundations like that?
It's so important because this is our heritage, right? What we have, the fauna and the flowers form the trees to the animals. This is what we want to leave as a legacy to our kids. We want to protect that. We want to conserve it. We want to make sure that they can experience the things and share the beauty that we have in this beautiful country of ours. And to the Fisher Foundation, an amazing initiative. And the things that they do, may they keep on having the courage to be out there, and may they forever fill up their coffers so that they can produce and help out everyone and anyone that they can. It's been amazing. It was an amazing time. Jacques Callis and the cricket boys were there. They won, so we wanted them to win something because, I mean,
tough scene.
The rugby has been producing for the last 30 years, giving us a good 12 years of celebrating world championships. So for them to win for one day, it was good to see.
It was also good to see, South Africans helping South Africans, baby. That's all that matters.
Just giving them confidence. The cricketers, we have to look after each other. This is what this country is about, unification.
Speaking of unification, there's a lot of broad chests in South Africa this morning. It was a great performance over the weekend. Sure, the All Blacks performed amicably and they performed well, but when it mattered, the last 15 minutes, the championship rounds, the Boks were there. Let's go to Morné on this. Morné, give me your cliff notes on the test that happened over the weekend, your review and report card of what you saw from the Springboks at Ellis Park.
Yeah, I think it was again a great performance. I think the Springboks at that stage where they go on the field and it feel like they can't lose. Boks and Schalla, you guys will know, if you 5-6 years ago, if you 20 points behind against the All Blacks, the last 20 minutes they even put another 20 points on it. So I think the All Blacks, you can definitely see they miss us in the Super Rugby. They were the ones don't want us there, and now they want us back. So yeah, I can see the difference in their rugby, and yeah, I'm actually glad they they start to mess us now. But yeah, I think it was a great performance by the Springboks, and again, Rusty was just on the next level. He's always one step ahead of all the other coaches.
The one thing that is amazing and people underestimate that is the bomb squad. If you take except one test match against Ireland, and that was in the second test match when we had a couple of injuries, our bomb squad has put on multiple points. I think if you're on average, it's between 12, 13 or 14 points they put on in the last 20 minutes of this whole season, ball one test match. And that's just the impact that bomb squad has, is just you can't compete with a new pack coming on, the pressure they put on the scrum, the line out, and we used to call it slow poison. So the first group brings that slow poison, and then the second group, the bomb squad comes on, and they just demolish the opposition, and they bring intensity that the other team can't handle.
Morné, a big moment in that test was in the last couple of minutes, Shasha stepping up to the plate and he bombed it into the corner. That's a big kick. That's a BMT moment. That is a big ball moment for such a young kid. How does it feel being, I mean, you were once a young Springbok. How does it feel? What goes through your head? It's Ellis Park. It's stacked. You got to pop it out in the corner. Did Sasha get lucky and it kind of curled into the corner? Or was that all planned? What's your thoughts?
No, I think Sasha was a very exciting player, and I think since his first test, I think in his first test he even tried a banana kick to the touch as well. He kicked it out directly, but I think just a youngster, but he's going for things. He's going for that magic moments. If it's happening, yes. If not, hard lines. He's just going on with his game, and I think one of those, you go for the 5. The forwards, Schalla will know we want that ball on the 5 because we want to drive from there. So they hopefully they put a lot of work on it. But yeah, when I was at the Boks and at the Bulls, you put a lot of work on it because if you put that inside 10 meters, it's a try.
It's true to what Morné talks about. It's moments and scenarios that you practice so much, putting yourself under pressure. I think when you have that sort of measure of the weight of the kick, thinking about what it does mean, but because you've put yourself in that scenario and conditions and environment to do it for your country, to do it for your team, you take pride in it as a skill set, as a Flyhalf. You know that that's what you want to nail, right? Because it's beneficial for the team to be 5 meters out for that line out. And when it does happen, it just encourages everyone because everyone knows that everyone is locked in, This is the moment.
Bobs, it's a big one coming up this weekend. The Boks, check the box in the first week.
Just before we go there, I don't think we should glance over the performance of the All Blacks in the way that they put us under pressure. And I felt our players reacting to it by panicking, by making panic reads on defense. For the first time, we got outflanked by the All Blacks. They looked very comfortable when we were putting up numbers in their faces. And compliments to them because they learned from that English sort of test series how to play against a highly competitive defensive line that's coming up in your face. How do you then back your skills? How do you have the patience to run onto the balls, keep your depth? I thought they done that well in that first 60, but the pressure of coming 124, 25 test caps of Eben Etzebeth, where you can change the game plan, where we can sort of change the pressure points. I thought that's how South Africa sort of did it. And I thought the Boks did those quiet moments when the ball is out of play, giving in the right instructions and making sure that they stay focused on the game. It was brilliant because you were talking to experienced players who knew what to execute.
And that's a big thing. Schalla, perhaps you can jump in on this. What was, especially in the last 20 minutes, was it just the pressure that counted on the All Blacks? Or was there something else that you noticed that went wrong in their setup, in their thoughts for the game where they might have dropped the ball, Schalla?
For me, the difference between the two sides is currently stability.
Bobs, at that point, let's jump into this week. So
yeah.
We've got the lineup. It's a pretty simple one, and I think to some extent maybe we've gone back to a more tested team. Ox, Bongi, France up front. Eben, Ruan Urkia retains his spot. Sia back at the side of the scrum. Peter Steff back at the side. Jasper stays at 8. Before we go to the backs, give me your thoughts on the forward.
Such a much more settled team. I think you can see with the way that they went about it, giving the almost the starting team from last week. I mean, bar BJ Jason Dixon at 7, and Peter Steph, who had moved to the lock. For me, it's giving those players a chance to really establish themselves. Another thing is it's to make sure that they can right the wrongs that they did against Ireland, that slow start that we had in the second test. It's the same guys who are being asked to task. How are you going to go about it against the All Blacks in Cape Town? It's the second test. You've won the first one. How do you respond now when you are given a chance to almost meet the starting intensity that you're going to need for the second test? I think that's the challenge that's been put up for that forward pack. Jasper was outstanding for not playing for so long. I mean, he gives us so much energy on the ball. By him carrying over and running over and knocking over people, that momentum is so key to unleash everything that the Springboks want to do on their attack. So for me, I think the balance of having a Ruan Nokia who's going to just be running the line-out, which I thought he was good. Yes, we had some overthrows and all of that, but I thought his confidence and the way that he managed it, I mean, it's not like as if he's playing his 20th test or even more. This guy's just started, but he's the only less experienced player in that pack. So that's why I'm talking about that forward pack as a balance, but there's a massive task ahead.
Then we go to the back line. Grant Williams in the 9 jersey.
It's a good thing that you asked me about the forwards, not Schala.
Yeah, at least we know. At least we know. We'll go back to the full team in a second. From 9, Grant Williams, Handré Pollard, Colby, and Moody on the wings, which is fantastic to see Moody back as well. Damien and Jesse in the midfield, and Willie Leroux creeping up to that century, which is fantastic for him. The back line, strong, consistent. Having Kane and Moody back is great. Having Grant Williams in the 9 jersey will be fantastic to see in that cauldron.
I think Grant Williams is... Yeah. What, go ahead.
Now that Bobs has got the opportunity to comment on the backs, on the forwards, can I have a comment on the back?
You are always that struggling to get into the right jersey.
I don't want to overexert you, Schalla. I don't want to overexert your mental capacity. But give us your 2 cents on the back line. Let's go there, Schalla.
What I do like Apili played an amazing test match last week with the defensive hits, his option taking the high ball. But one thing we lacked on is actually the 10-15 combination where Willie comes in as second receiver. And so I felt from an attacking perspective, we've got great running backs, but we didn't create much in our structure. I think maybe that's why they brought Willie in for this particular weekend, is maybe to play that second fly-half, play out of the back a bit more, take the blind on a bit more. And so from that perspective, I know people always ask why is Billy playing, but that is exactly that. He doesn't score the tries anymore, but he makes the tries.
Someone was saying that he's got Rusty's news.
Give the man some credit. Almost 100 tests. Morné, 9 and 10. Grant Williams, Handré Pollard back. What are you hoping to see?
Yeah, I wanna echo what Schalla said. I think even bringing Handré back, just bring a little bit of calmness. Sasha is a very exciting and young player, and I think he's more of a running fly-off. But I think Handré will just bring that calmness again. And Grant Williams, I'm a big fan of Grant. He's a great player. I think he's one of the 5 players in South Africa. So I'm looking forward to that. And the exciting batch with Damien and Jesse there. I think awesome rugby at this stage. And then last weekend Kanan came back play against the Lions, and you can just see the difference. He's an amazing player. So I'm looking forward to see him back on the field as well.
Just to talk to that, having Willie Leroux there. I mean, you worked with him at the Bulls before you called it. Just to give us the insight of what he does really bring, especially for you as a 10, that releasing of that pressure, that opportunity to have someone's voice on your outside.
I think that makes a fly-off, his job much easier to have like Schalla said, like a second fly-off there. And especially with his left boot as well, I think we can even use it a bit more. But I think just slotting into the 10 position, It helps the 10 a lot, and just to make some calls from the outside as well. You know, Vali talks a lot on the field, and I know he irritates everyone running to the quick tap and fake the quick tap. But yeah, luckily he's full of energy and keep the other team on their toes. But yeah, I think Vali's doing an amazing job. He's getting close to 100 tests now. So yeah,
Which is brilliant,
not any player can get to 100. So yeah, that's an awesome achievement for him.
Bobs, the 2 Australian tests, and probably the last Ireland, Portugal, two in Australia and 1 against the All Blacks, we didn't have that stupid high number of caps. We didn't have the 950s, the 1,000. Now we go back to that. Now we go to tried and tested. Are we going to be able to play in the same, what's your thoughts? Are we going to play in the same Tony Brown mindset, or are we maybe going to see a little bit more of the old Bok DNA coming through?
For me, this group, what they did first was the way that we used to play in terms of kick pressure, playing in the right places of the field. I think it was a great way for the coaching staff to give these players sort of rugby intelligence to understand what is the pressure points that you have to push in a game to win it, building those fundamentals, and then to the defensive side of how to read defensive teams and how to read the attacks that are coming up against you. Then you've built that rugby sort of IP and IQ where you can change your game and play into certain ways because you understand of what you're trying to achieve as a team. That's what the Springboks have done. Adding the layer of Tony Brown to their attack. Now these players want to express themselves. Yes, there was a few forced passes where they could have made better decisions, which is why I was saying I felt that we sort of panicked in a way in that first half and gave opportunities, especially broken play opportunities to the All Blacks. But it's the players who are starting to feel that they can sort of express themselves with the ball in hand. Yes, they have to make better decisions. If you don't hear a voice and no one is calling for it, it's not an offloading moment. So that's the key of how to make those decisions, how the players sort of talk together. What we do well is we are very comfortable of going back to our pressure point when we need to, and we are very comfortable now to actually get excited with transitional play. So I think it's a team that is really starting to develop into a well holistical sort of play of rugby because of the way that they understand it. And those experienced players have experience playing at the highest level, knowing what works at the highest level.
So, Bobs, as you said, like we've got that consistency, we've got that old Bok DNA if we need it. Schalla, going back to a guy like Morné Steyn here.
Yeah, no, because we always go back to Morné.
We're always going back to Morné. Before we go to Morné, tell me about Andre Pollard back in the 10 jersey, what we might expect to see. Is it going to be the same kind of Bok DNA that we saw in the past, or how will he fit into Tony Brown's way of playing?
That's the great thing about Andre. He can adapt. He's the kind of player that can play any style. He can be the guy that is like a ball, and he can be the guy that plays like Sasha or plays like Morné, but on a limited way. He doesn't have the natural flair that they've got, but he brings it in a different way. So the combination of him and Willie together is just a thing that has worked for us previously, and I definitely think it's going to work again. And so the one thing that Andre does never compromise on with him and Damien is momentum. And the one thing that I saw with the All Blacks, if they start getting momentum, they are extremely hard team to challenge on a defensive thing, and that's when our defense falls away. So from my perspective, that's a trial and tested combination. Grant will feed very quickly. He's going to run a bit more. He's going to give Andre a bit more space, and then Willie coming out from the back. So it's going to be very interesting. And one more thing that I want to say, Tony will give Andre the freedom to play what he sees, and that is something that is scary.
Morné, let's go to the All Blacks quick.
Yeah.
We've gotten used to an All Black 10 playing a certain way from way back when it was Andrew Mertens. It was DC for a couple of years there. And we were used to seeing the All Blacks 10 play a certain way. Even when Richie Mo'unga was there, it was a certain way of playing. Damian McKenzie brings something different to the table. Morné, tell me about Damian McKenzie and where and how he fits into the All Black fold at the moment.
I think Damien is a exciting player, but for me, he's not a 10. I think he needs some space, he wants some space, and you don't always have that at 10. And like I said about Andre as well, I think Carter just brought that, that calmness. He got a great kicking game, great running game. His defense is very good. And I think McKenzie, he needs a bit of that. He don't have the same kicking game. He's not a usual 10, and you can definitely see it in his game. But yeah, exciting play. For me, he's almost the same type of guy as Damien Willemse. Damien Willemse for me is also not a 10, but a great player, grade 12, grade 15. They need some space. They want to attack a bit more. And yeah, for a 10, that's not your first job. Your first job is to get the back line on the go and be the link between the backs and the forwards. I think that's the main thing.
I just want to ask you something, Morné. When you came through, because you played most of your rugby at Great College and you were that running 10 and you moved to the Bulls, you get there, Derek Hoogaard is the Flyhalf, and he gets picked ahead of you because of his game management and the way that he goes about how he controls the game. What did you have to change in your approach, and how did you go about it to sort of understand what a 10 and how a 10 dominates? I mean, there was a time where it was Morné Steyn, 30 points, All Blacks, less than that.
Yeah, Bobs, I think coming from the Free State as the running Flyhalf, get to the Bulls. And I think what a lot of people don't know, in my first 2 years at the Bulls, under 20 and Vodacom Cup, I didn't kick poles. I wasn't a kicker in a team.
Yeah.
I was a running Flyhalf, and yeah, Heineke Meyer actually told me, if I want to play on a higher level, I must work on my kicking game. And yeah, that's when me and Floxel, that stage, was the kicking coach, start working, first on the field, last one to leave. And just for the youngsters out there, I think that's the main thing. Sometimes you don't have the talent, but the harder you work, you will. If you have a goal, you will get there. If you work hard enough, you will get there. And yeah, just over the years, and I think where I learned a lot of my rugby was sitting behind Derek Hoogaard. Maybe that 3-4 years I was on a bench, then I get a 20 minutes here, then I get a 5 minutes here, then I get a full game. And I think that's where you actually learn more about the game, learn more about Flyhalf, learn more about the Blue Bulls game plan at that stage was more of a kicking. So I had to adapt my rugby and my game plan, to play with the Bulls. And for the guys out there, I think these days the guys don't want to sit on the bench anymore. If they don't make a team at 21 or get the Springbok at 22 or 23, they go overseas or they leave rugby or they try something else. But that's actually where you learn more about the game.
It's so wild for me to think that there was a time where Morné Steyn, arguably the greatest Springbok kicker of all time, says, I had to go away and work on it. It's not this natural thing that he just always was.
And that's the I love the fact that he sort of took it to someone who's trying to get themselves into that, like the dedication of understanding the game and the fact of you have to think about the bigger picture, not about yourself. It's not about you. It's about how you want to be part of this successful team. How much are you willing to learn as a player, as an individual, to have that patience? And most players, they don't have the patience, especially when you're young. You always think that, the coach is wrong. I'm a better rugby player. And then you sort of find out in the world that you have to serve. It's not about you. It's not about your self-indulgence of who you are. It's about what do you bring? What added value do you bring to this squad as a professional, as someone who's capable to do things?
You know what's a crazy thing for me? So we've been dancing around it thus far this episode.
Yeah.
Cape Town.
Yeah.
Mills Muliaina.
Yeah.
100 test, Centurion, All Black. Played against the Boks 27 times. Only played in Cape Town twice.
Yeah.
Won both of those. We've been dancing around, taking the All Blacks down to the mother city for a very, very long time. Morné, if we look at Cape Town, does it change a little bit in the preparation, or are the Boks just going to stay with what they do? Where you play doesn't matter. A home test is a home test, because the All Blacks have said this is a second home ground for them. They feel like they're coming home when they come to Cape Town.
Yeah, we actually spoke about it last night. I had a function with Renier Pienaar and Frans Steyn, and we actually spoke about the same thing. Why we always take the New Zealand test, we go to P or we go to Cape Town, because I think that's where almost more All Black supporters there than Springbok supporters. So I think for me playing against the All Blacks, I'd rather play them at Loftus or Joburg or Bloem, you know, where the Buddha is there and supporting the Boks and not the All Blacks. And especially, you know, Schalla will know now, but it's a little bit wet in Cape Town now, so that maybe suits them as well. But yeah, I think the Springboks, the good thing about the Boks now, it's almost like opportunity overrides everything. So if the run is on out of your own 22, they will take it. If the kick is on the halfway 22, wherever they are, you know, opportunity overrides everything. And I think that's what excites me, you know, about this team. And they've got the outside backs to do it. You know, they can move the ball, get it to the wings, get it to the fullback. They want to run. So yeah, it's a exciting game coming up. So I don't think they will change a lot this weekend.
Why would you want to take the game to Cape Town?
It's a beautiful. Look at the beautiful view behind you.
It is beautiful, but unfortunately, our record isn't great in Cape Town. Our record is better in the north. It's an altitude. You can see this weekend, they run out of steam in the last 20 minutes. Yes, the bomb squad had a big impact on it, but you can't recover within a week to get used to that altitude. They only arrived on Sunday or Monday. Then you have a slow training session during the week. You build it up to the final couple of days before the test match. Cape Town is a totally different kettle of fish. That is, yeah, it's no altitude, is at sea level. They've got ample of support in the Western Cape or in the Cape in general. And so from that perspective, that impact the crowd has, and what I saw on this weekend, you couldn't even hear the haka. That was actually for me quite disrespectful in the way, but I get that the DJ got it wrong, or the fire.
Yeah, no, it was.
That's something that's one thing that rugby has that other sports wish it had, is the respect for the ref and the opposition. You try to kick the living crap out of each other for 80 minutes, but afterwards you have a beer together and you wait for next weekend. But anyway, so from our perspective, Cape Town is going to be a tougher test match for us. It's going to feel like they're playing. It's going to be a 50-50 sport. I hope it's not. I hope it's more like a 80-20 kind of support, because previously I can remember playing with Bobs, where you play against the Crusaders, the Highlanders, the Hurricanes with Tana and Mao and all those boys. And there was more New Zealand supporters than there was Stormer supporters back in the day. So from my perspective, I love DHL Stadium. I love Cape Town. It's home, but it is not great for the Springboks, especially against New Zealand.
Yeah, it was funny because you talk about the supporters coming in, but the one frustrating thing, there's a Brian who used to be our logistics sort of manager. He used to run the waters and everything and on all of that. And Brian used to come in, if we're playing against the Hurricanes, he is wearing a Jerry Collins jersey and the full kit to the field just to piss us off. And but the story behind the support of the All Blacks in Cape Town, if you take it back to 1986 when the All Blacks came with that Rebel Tour, they stayed with the community. They stayed with the community. They helped them out in their coaching, at the training grounds, being there and waking up with them because of those times of the era. And now those people have adopted them as their family members. It's an uncle who they used to stay with. So can you imagine their fathers being those people who've always had that sort of access to their All Blacks from back in the day? And that's why this has become a thing. But it's good times now because those kids will bring Springbok jerseys to their fathers.
That's the thing about going to Cape Town. That's like saying your father was a Liverpool fan and now you're coming home with a Manchester jersey. Exactly. Like, please, there's other things. Don't do me like that.
Exactly. But I mean, that's the glory of the game, right? You can choose who you want to support.
100% Bobs, but one thing I do have to compliment the All Blacks. When they do come to South Africa, it's not just about rugby. It is, they do outreaches, they go to programs, they they do more than just rugby, and that is one thing you have to compliment them. They went to a program last week. They're doing a program this week, so that you can understand why they are so loved in our country as well. With our past and what they've done previously, every time they give back to the community, and that is actually, if you take the Springboks and the All Blacks out of it, yes, rugby is a massive passion, but it's about giving back and giving hope, and that's what they give when they get you.
That's the beauty of the All Blacks, and I think that's the degree of respect that we have for them as well. It's also been announced in the week that old school touring is coming back, baby, in a big way. In 2026, we're going to have the All Blacks in the country for 8 matches. They're playing against the URC teams. They're going to play against the Boks, and they're playing against an SAA. Moras, Schala, Bobs, you were part of the generation that did proper tours. You got on a plane here and you didn't see your wife and your kids for 2 months and you spent time abroad. How is it, Schala, seeing that come back, seeing old school touring come back? What are your thoughts?
I absolutely love it. It's the best thing ever, especially when you're single like Bobs when he was back in the day.
Yeah, I really did know
as
at
your
all.
legal advice, I'm telling you not to comment on
No
that.
comment.
I like the old school. I do understand there is the Champions Cup and all those kind of things is fantastic. But I just like the old way, having a 3-test series. I hate this 2-test series that we had against Ireland. It's sort of a build-up. So for me, it's amazing to bring the old school. There's still place for old school and our new global season, I think.
Monas, what's your take? Having the All Blacks back and having tours again?
I love touring. I think touring was awesome. Like Schala said, especially when you're a bit younger and you don't have kids to worry about and a wife to worry about. But yeah, I think it's great. The sad thing is being away from your family. But yeah, like I said, if you don't have kids, it's awesome. Especially with the Lions series in 2021 with the COVID, we've been away for 17 weeks away from family.
Gee.
I think I saw my family 2 weeks in those all 17 weeks. So it is tough, but yeah, I think it's great to bring it back. And like Schala said, I don't know why we only played 2 tests against Ireland, because we won 1, they won 1. Who's the winners? There's no winner. So that was a bit stupid for me. But yeah, it is a full year. There's rugby straight through the year, and I don't know where they're going to fit that in. I think the Springboks later on just going to play international rugby and leave the URC because there's so much rugby now. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. I think it's going to be great.
I'll tell you one thing, Bobs, that's important to me, and I think it's quite nice. Look, I'm all for commercializing rugby. We have to make money. We have to go that way. But there's a lot of South Africans that won't have access to go watch the All Blacks play against the Boks. Tickets are too expensive. Logistics is expensive. Now you get the opportunity to see the All Blacks. It might be a midweek game, might be a rainy Wednesday in Cape Town, playing the Stormers. Tickets will be cheap. I'm counting on those stadiums to be filled out as well.
And most definitely. I think that's the key, is to showcase the big global stars into your local fan base. And in that way, you sort of grow the game. And for me, another opportunity is for tourism, because they're not just going to come, the supporters from New Zealand, just to the big cities where the games are. There is much more in South Africa that has to offer. For that, it's a time for our country to showcase and show off of what we have, the best of what we have, the big fives, the safaris, they're going to tiger fishing, the golf courses that we have, and the beautiful hosting that we have, and just the facilities of this country. So that excites me, because it becomes another opportunity for rugby to grow into the hearts of South Africans and to the global world to showcase our country.
We've taken a long time, and I mean, from COVID, we all, as South Africans, we saw the hit that especially Tourism South Africa took. That's an opportunity for 2 months safari lodges booked out. You couldn't get a tea time in Cape Town or Joburg, or you're not going to be able to get one, which is fantastic, at least for me to know that you and Schalla will both be in the same place at the same time.
And Morné will probably going to hit a hole in one by himself.
Plus, the thing is, you've got all these corporate functions coming with it as well. So, I mean, there's speaking engagements for a guy like Morné, who's traveling all over the country.
Already now making and milking it. I mean, his diaper monies is coming in easily. So it is an opportunity for the old ballers.
Never say never, Morné. Never say never.
Watch out, boy. They could be coming. You don't know.
You loved a late penalty kick, so we know.
So I think it's just brilliant, just for the fraternity, to host, to be the host, and for us to even travel, for the youngsters to go through and create those memories, because those memories last forever. I mean, I've been talking to my mates who I used to play with at school, I'm not going to say the years, a few years, decades
27,
back.
I'll say the years.
A few years back, and now we've got memories that we carry till today, from what happened when we were still playing at schools. For those players who are going to go on tour, for the New Zealanders coming over to this side, it's going to be those memories that they will create here that will last them forever, and it could be something that bonds them forever. Pity for Australia, but they have to come up to the marker.
That's the big thing. And I mean, our UK host Alex Payne asked the question, what does it mean for Australia? We are getting into bed with the All Blacks saying it's you and us against the world at the moment. Schalla, Australia at the moment, they're getting the news that we're going to be hosting the All Blacks for 2 months in the country. They're in a rebuilding phase. Are they going to try and get in on this action, or where do you see Australia? I think Schalla might have dropped off, so we'll just go the same.
Nothing like a threesome. It doesn't work.
That's why we left the Tri-Nations.
Ah, true.
So I would say, I mean, you want, and this is the unfortunate thing, there's, like in cricket or any sport, if you've got the two best sides, and that is who's won the last, 6 World Cups. It was New Zealand and South Africa. They are the tickets. They sell out. They are the best rugby players. Well, can't say best rugby players in the world, but they are the two teams that people want to watch. And unfortunately, Australia's got a tough task. It's like we previously said, they need more athletes, they need more talent, they need better structures. And while they're not there, these games are going to keep on going. And so that's unfortunate from that perspective. But it's you eat what you cook, they say. And so
yeah. You lay in your own you lay on that bed that you made.
It's your hole, you got to fill it up.
Yeah, it's a situation. But Morné, we need Australia to do well, because 2027 World Cup, important for them. The British-Irish Lions happening, it's important for them, especially for the growth of their game in their country, Morné.
Yeah, I think what I said earlier, they definitely miss us in the Super Rugby. You can see that. You can see I think the teams they are playing against is not on the same level. And it's actually a shame to see them, not on good form. It's always going to have a great challenge between New Zealand and Australia. But yeah, now all of a sudden it's almost you go into the test and see it as the easy test coming. But yeah, hopefully they're going to pick it up. I don't know if it's the coach or the players or whatever, but yeah, hopefully they're going to pick it up and get better before, like you said, 227.
There's a tradition on the show where we pick the greatest ever All Blacks, the greatest ever Springboks to don the jersey. We've got arguably one of the greatest ever 10s in the studio. I'm going to go to my man in Cape Town, Schalla. Start off the conversation. Greatest ever Springbok 9 and 10. Set the table for us.
You can't look past Fourie de Preez. I know for people that is a bit on the older stage, I would say US was phenomenal. But if you look at things that Fourie did in his career, from a leadership perspective, the things that how he changed the game, what is the impact he had in Japan at the Bulls, and for the Springboks, I can't look past them. It's just, for me, a phenomenal 9.
2 World Cups for Faf, though.
Yeah, that's true. So I can put him on the bench.
I love how you I'm not too sure if you're nonplussed about it, or you just don't. I don't care. Fourie is the best. He is the GOAT.
Look, at that particular stage, the unfortunate thing you must have a look at for me in each era, and Fourie was in his era was just by far the best scrum off in World Rugby. If you look now, DuPont is the best scrum off in World Rugby. Well, depending on how you play. For us, Fafa was the perfect combination for him and Andre. And so if you look again, Aaron Smith with Dan Carter, they were phenomenal together. And now the question is, what 10 would you put with that 9? And for me, if you go back from Lars Botha to Henry Honeyball, then you take Butch James, then Jack Andre that's taken that shirt. And then there's a guy that unfortunately, was quite phenomenal. He won the Lions in 2009 and kicked a goal that made me quite happy that evening and quite drunk later on.
You drunk? I'll never believe it.
Never.
No, I'd never believe it. So, Bobs, talk to me about a 10. Who are we picking? The greatest ever Springbok 10.
Well, this is a tough one. We have decorated 10s. I'm not going to commit.
No, you have to commit.
Okay. It's hard. I think Andre pulled out for these 2 World Cups and how he has come on. You see, the one thing I'll put Andre on, I'll put the 10 on Andre's jersey on his back is because there was so much promise of him from winning the World Cup as a 20-year-old at school. There was so much pressure for him to become this player that he has become. For fulfilling the sort of destiny that everyone had for him, and not to just do that, but come back with 2 World Cups. I think for me, that's what shades it.
Schalk alluded to it in 07.
Sorry.
Thanks for the vote of confidence there.
But Morné is my benchman. So we take. You see, I'm covering my bases here. I'm backing my case. I'm covering my bases because Morné will be the guy if anything goes wrong.
But this is my thing: is are we picking if anything goes wrong? Because if you ask me the question, yeah, I'm going to pick Fourie at 9.
Yeah.
But then I'm picking, and it's not because you're here, Morné. I'm picking Morné Steyn at 10. The consistency that we had over a series of years to take the time off to come back to the Lions series in 21 and do it all, run it back again. You can't allude to that. You can't write that off. We've given Fourie the opportunity to play at 9, and we've thrown World Cups out the window because Fafa's on the bench, I assume.
Okay. Okay.
Who's your 10s?
I'm going to say again, Morné is...
Morné's never won a World Cup. Sorry, Morné.
He's won a Lions series. Like after every 12 years, we roll him out.
He's won a shit ton of hearts, I'll tell you that.
The one thing is, my missus' favorite Springbok rugby player is Morné Steyn because we were born in the same year. And she was saying that if Morné Steyn played at the World Cup last year, would have never won those games by 1 point because the man was a postman. He could deliver. So, Morné, you take it.
Morné Steyn, tell me about the greatest 9 and 10.
She knows the rugby.
Clearly someone's helping Burbs with his commentary as well.
So, and I wanna be in good books when I get home.
True story. Morné, tell me the greatest 9 and 10. You've had the joy of playing outside a guy like Fourie. Talk to me about who you reckon the greatest Springbok 9 and 10.
Yeah, I'm not gonna even go past Fourie. I started my Blue Bulls career with him. I started the Boks with him. So yeah, I think he was just in the next level, and he helped me a lot in my game. So yeah, definitely Fourie will definitely take that one. And then yeah, I will, like Schalla said, also in all the eras, there is a Lars Botha who was amazing in his stage. He broke a lot of hearts of other unions and other countries as well. But for me, I think a guy like Andre is an awesome player. He showed also under pressure what he can do. He's a great defender. You can see he played a lot of 12 as well, and that helped his game as well. But yeah, for me, Andre's doing very well now, and yeah, he's still have a couple of years to go as well. So no, he's after me, I'll sit on the bench again, and then I'll put Andre in it.
Well, that settles it then. We're going for Fourie 9.
Nah, we could.
Pollard at 10. Gentlemen, before we wrap it up for episode number 5, the Boks in Cape Town against the All Blacks. Bobs, can we get it done again?
I think we can get it done. It is going to be close again. What the Springboks need to do, if it's a big start for the All Blacks, Springboks, every time we win, we have to score 31 points. We have to score more than 30 points if the All Blacks get a good win. Morné knows about that.
Morné has scored 31 points every now and again. Morné's the Boks in Cape Town. Can we get it done?
At this stage, they like an untouchable team. I think if they go into the field, they know they're going to win, and that's the good thing. They've got that confidence now. But like we spoke earlier, Cape Town, not our favorite place to be, but I'm still backing the Boks. I think it's going to be a good one. I think we're going to get a better start this time, and then we're going to take it through again and get that Newlands crowd behind us.
Schalla?
Bokke, 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 bokke.
It has to be the Bokke. It has to be the Bokke. Guys, I want to thank you so much, Bobs, for joining me in studio. The two gentlemen on the screen. It's wonderful. Morné, thanks for the time. Best of luck with whatever you've got going on. This has been episode 5 of The Good, The Bad, The Rugby South Africa. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, get involved with the show. Wherever you get your podcast, we're streaming there, so make sure you get the audio as well. Otherwise, catch us on YouTube every week on Thursday. It's been wonderful having you. We'll talk next week. Cheers.